my question. My living room, I am working on a pretty decent setup, kind of upper mid-range stuff. I have right now it's a 5.2.4, and then I've got quite a bit of stuff that's just standing by. It's eventually going to be 7.6.2, but I'm out here in the Bay Area, and I got a decent sized house. The actual room it's in is close to 30,000 cubic feet, but I built a couple of DIY 18-inch subs. They're huge.
Nice.
And then I have a Klipsch RC64 version 3 center, which is also huge.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to get all that set up in the living room, and then while shopping for furniture, finding a TV console that fits the center channel and has room for everything. Yeah.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, exactly. So actually the TV console that I have now, I built, and then I came up with the idea of just kind of retrofitting it to where I can slide these 18s in it, and they would be either side firing, like towards the towers, or reverse firing, button up against the wall behind it. It, wouldn't be connected to the console. It would just be mostly kind of like a cover over everything.
Okay.
It would look, like a standard TV console, but there's 2 subs hidden in it.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you guys, just in your experience, could think of, other than all these vibrations, what could go wrong with something like that? Because the subs would be obviously in the center of the room, but I got more than enough power as is, so I don't need to squeeze every little inch out of them.
Are your subs, are they going to be in a sealed box or ported box?
Oh, so they're the 4 cubic foot ported. Sealed right now. They're just the flat packs. It's the Dayton Ultimax.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. I don't know. I know I have had in the past, it's a little bit different, but I had speakers that were inside like a false wall, and it affected them. But I don't know about like having subwoofers. I don't know if I would fire them like directly towards your front wall. I think you're going to get a huge boundary gain there. Might become really boomy. I don't know.
Well,
Aaron?
yeah.
What do you think on that?
Could either, like I said, I could either have them firing, to the left and to the right, towards the towers, or backwards. So I'm kind of open to that, and the way I'm designing this thing, or at least mentally, they can rotate either way. I just looking mostly, it's this freaking center. Like I've got a larger TV. So once you factor that in, and then this giant center, and then it's I can't really, and then supply chain stuff, I can't really find anything that checks all the boxes as far as furniture.
Yeah, some people get like the Salamander, which those are kind of like a low profile. So then you might, just depending on how mathematically it all works out, you might be able to put the center channel on top of that, and then even play. Is your TV mounted to the wall, or is it like on a stand?
Well, it is now. Again, we're in the process of just kind of moving everything now. It's now on the stand that I built, but it will be mounted above it. Okay. But even with the low pro ones, one, it doesn't look right in the living room because it's just the kind of aesthetic we have. And then 2, it's still, once you factor in the center, and then it's 85-inch TV, so the TV is going to have to be too high, so it still doesn't really.
Yeah. I mean, definitely mess around with how the subs are placed and measure, right? Because it does make a difference whether you point it, one way or the other, not because of, I used to think it's because it's like firing at me, but it's more that the sound is actually in a different location, right? Let's say the box is like really wide. That's the difference between like maybe 2 feet this way versus 2 feet that way, right? Depending on where you place this. So it's more that than anything. But what you have to be careful of is, depending on where the nulls are in your room, that it could be an issue, right? So you definitely want to measure. Like in my room, I can have a sub in the center and it'll be fine. I can have them in the corners and it's fine. But once I put them on like a, I don't know, like a, what would I say, like a quarter of the way on the wall, all of a sudden, like in my listening position, there's no bass. Like that's the place where I cannot have subs.
It's funny is so the subs are just kind of loose or just freestanding now. And just earlier, I turned them to where they're firing towards me. And then as opposed to they're firing, hitting the corner walls now, or they were, the base basically got cut in half. So I don't know if that created this crazy null or this or that. But that said, there's still 218s with 2 large amps, and I'm in the Bay Area, so neighbors are close by.
Well, I think so generally speaking, corner loading your subs is going to give you the most gain, right? The most bass, but less seat to seat consistency versus mid wall, like right in the middle of the walls, is going to give you less gain but more consistency between the various seats. So those are the 2 trade-offs. Maybe experiment with those 2 placements of the subs.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I would say. I think your question was what could possibly go wrong, right? And I think
basically I just meant, is it gonna, obviously it'll be in a different position, but the subs basically being built around, or the TV console being built around the subs, is that going to cause any kind of?
Well, that gets to my answers, as like, if there's a null there, then you don't want to build all around it, right? Because now you can't fix that, right?
Can't move it.
Yeah, you want to make sure that if they're in a good place, then go for it. But if they're not, I probably wouldn't want to do that.
It'll just be something I have to experiment with, like just getting your opinion if there's something I didn't miss. Okay.
There you go. There's some good advice right there. Place them, listen, place them again. Which measure them. That's what I would do too, is measure them and then just store the settings off until you do some other stuff. Go back.
One other question I had for Joe. So your calibration service. How do you? So I have the Denon 6700 now, and then I have the just the Play Store app. How do you go about doing that? Does someone have to have RU and a measured mic, or like how do you do that remotely exactly?
Yeah, so on my website, if you go to
give away secrets away,
joeintel.com/booking, I have a list of all the things that you'll need for the service. And basically I remotely log into your computer. You do have to have a calibrated mic.
Hide the porn.
REW. Yes, do that. And then so you have to, I'm going to instruct you on where to place the mic, how to do the measurements, and I'm going to see all the stuff, and then, I do what I have to do on my end. But for the most part, I just need you to, connect cables, physically move the mic to a different location, things like that.
Yeah, depending on where your AVR is, you might need a really long HDMI and or a really long USB.
Yeah, no, everything's it'll all be built into this TV console, hopefully. So it's all
and it needs to be a PC, right? Because isn't the multi EQX only PC? Okay.
Real quick though, we're saying to test out and measure your subs. If you don't have a UMic 1, that's definitely something that I would look into. Get REW, which is free. So we're talking about less than $100, right? But if you don't have that even, you can get some apps where, you can just measure on your computer or something like that. You can use REW without having a UMic 1. And what I would say is go and run a sweep and just see if there's an obvious response, like dip. Even though your computer, your laptop's not going to have a calibrated mic, it'll still be able to tell you whether there's a huge dip.
Something obvious.
Yeah. Just the obvious stuff.
I'm mostly curious on how you did it on. I guess I didn't research it as much as I could have, but how you did it remotely. That's a neat service. That's something probably going to want to check out once if this whole room's ever done. But
for sure. I mean, it's just because I used to do IT services, so we would log into a bunch of people's computers remotely and update them and do all that. I'm like, we could do a lot of this stuff. I just can't move the mic.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All about that little side hustle.
For sure.
All right. All right.
Thanks, man.
Guys, for all the advice, and I will keep you updated on how this ends up working out.
Sounds good.
Have a great night.
Enjoy, man.
Make sure to join us every Monday for our live stream at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/Daily HiFi.